Welcome to another episode of Holistic Approaches, our weekly show about holistic weight loss. I'm your host, Dr. David Duizer. Thank you so much for tuning in. A special welcome to each of you who are joining us for the first time, and an extra special welcome to each of you who joined the Daily Lean after our last episode, which was prior to the holiday. Welcome to the Daily Lean. Happy to have you, happy to be on the journey with you. The purpose of Holistic Approaches is to highlight how effective the holistic approach to weight loss can actually be. You know, traditional approaches to weight loss have been to aggressively cut calories and to just turn up the intensity on the exercise. We know that doesn't work for everyone, and we think the holistic approach to weight loss is better. This show is about the facets, the pillars of the holistic approach to weight loss, how to find what's appropriate for you, and how to move forward once you've figured it out. The goal of this series is to actually highlight how it can be effective for you specifically. So you listen along, you find where your imbalance might be, and then you take action moving forward by first consulting your naturopath or family doc. Please don't take anything that we state in this show as medical advice. Get yourself checked out before you move forward. My name is Dr. David Duizer. I'm the medical director here at Daily Health, and I'm a private practice naturopathic doctor in Vancouver, British Columbia. My practice is focused on the integrative approach to chronic disease management and integrative cancer care. Having a high BMI, being in the overweight or obese category, is a risk factor for most disease and many different types of cancers. And I spend much of my day helping people practice the holistic approach to weight loss to reduce their severity of disease or to reduce their risk of disease. So I love this approach. I'm obsessed with it, and I'm happy to present it here on the Daily Health Facebook page. Today our topic is the importance of sleep and aggressive circadian rhythm management in holistic weight loss and how it can be effective if you're having sleep issues already, or if you're not even sure you have sleep issues, how optimizing your sleep function can actually be really helpful in weight loss. It might even be the most important thing in achieving your goal weight if you're already eating healthy and exercising consistently. So happy to have you. Let's jump right into it. We're going to cover 3 keys today. The first key is that your calorie restriction on a weight loss journey doesn't really matter if you don't sleep well. There are some studies that show that if you eat very, very low calorie, if you're not sleeping well, if you're not getting good quality of sleep, good number of hours of sleep, if you have weight to lose, it won't come off, even with significant caloric restriction. So we know that optimizing your sleep can be really, really, really helpful for weight loss in general. And if you cut your weight, and if you cut your nutritional caloric intake, it won't matter along your weight loss journey. It won't positively affect your results the way that you'd like it to if you're not getting that 7 to 9 hours of sleep, if you're not sleeping straight through the night, if you're not noticing a rested body and rested mind in the morning, if you're not feeling rejuvenated, you probably aren't having the proper hormone release for recovery from exercise. You're probably not having an appropriate metabolic function that comes from a good night's sleep. Now, the marker we're looking at here is a protein called adiponectin. If you do not sleep well, if you don't have good quality of sleep, if you don't have a good length of sleep, you could suffer from low adiponectin levels. There's some data to show that people who are sleep deprived have low adiponectin. Now, why is this important? Adiponectin is an important marker, important molecule in the metabolism of fatty acids. So it's actually a protein. If you have poor sleep, your metabolic function with regards to the ability to break down fat is reduced. So in order, we can deduce from this we can conclude from this that in order to break down fat effectively on a weight loss journey, you need to be sleeping properly so you have a nice appropriate release of adiponectin. So at a basic level, getting a solid 8 hours, of course falling asleep easily is an important indicator of your circadian function, and staying asleep through the night is an important indicator of your ability to go into and out of REM sleep a few times. But quality and quantity of sleep are very important for the metabolism of fatty acids and the breakdown of fat. So let's say that you're on a restrictive diet or you're not eating very much. You're eating less than you were previously. If you're not sleeping well, just your metabolic function will be reduced. So you're going to storage mode and you just might not break down the fat like you normally would. So an important misconception to move away from is that you can just reduce your caloric intake and therefore lose weight. Well, if you're not sleeping properly, it just won't work. Number two, in terms of keys, is that some people believe that their hunger hormones, their actual hunger signals, are not affected by their quality and quantity of sleep. Well, we know from the data that if you do not sleep well, you probably have low leptin levels. People who have poor quality and quantity of sleep tend to have lower leptin levels than those who do not. Leptin is a hormone that tells you that you're full. So basically, people who do not sleep well are more hungry. And that may not click cognitively for many, but it can still translate into the overconsumption of calories. It can still translate into poor food choices, the desire to choose foods that are higher in total calories. So we also see that people have higher levels of grhelin when they don't sleep well, which is the hormone that says you're hungry. So the lower levels of leptin, higher levels of grhelin in those who don't sleep properly. Therefore, hunger hormones are out of balance. These people tend to eat later at night. They tend to be more hungry in the morning, and they tend to overeat during meals when these hormones are not properly balanced. Number three, in terms of keys for today's show, is that proper melatonin release is actually really, really important for metabolic function and for weight loss in general. There's some studies that show that people who are of a normal body weight have more consistent and, in general, proper melatonin release and then decline over the course of the night. So the recent study showed that a group of people who were it was postmenopausal women. They were a group of them were considered normal weight, and a group of them were considered overweight. And we found that the people who were in the normal weight category had a nice melatonin spike, 10:30, 11 p.m., and then it got lower during the course of the night. Compared to the postmenopausal women who were in the overweight category, they had less of a melatonin spike at 10:30, 11 p.m., and therefore had lower melatonin levels through the course of the night. They actually reported worse sleep. And then when they were prescribed melatonin supplementation, they tended to lose weight better than those who had normal melatonin secretion. So providing melatonin was actually helpful in weight loss for those who had low levels. And the only way to figure that out would be to test. Sometimes clinically we can go for melatonin without testing if someone has reported maintenance or onset insomnia. Usually we use melatonin in onset insomnia because melatonin is important for the actual ability to fall asleep. But we've used it in all different types of cases. But consult with someone before you start melatonin therapy because it can disrupt your insulin function. And insulin function is really, really important on a weight loss journey. So my point in saying all this is that melatonin release is very important for metabolic function. Obviously important in quality and quantity of sleep, but that's not it. You need to have proper melatonin release, which means you need to have aggressive circadian rhythm management on a holistic weight loss journey to actually achieve the weight loss results you're looking for and to achieve that metabolic function that keeps you burning. When you add foods back in, if you're on a restrictive diet, you can't do it forever, so you're going to eventually have to eat an appropriate caloric intake that may not be the same intake you consume on a restrictive type of weight loss journey. Melatonin function is very, very important in sustaining those results, keeping your body burning. So and you can't just take melatonin to override this. It's really only those who have low melatonin secretion that benefit from the supplementation of melatonin. We would look to the cause. Holistically, we then take a step back. So now we figured out in this grand scheme of reasons why there's inability to lose weight, okay, put you in the category of a poor sleeper, and now let's try and fix that. But before we do that, before we just try and patch it up with melatonin, we could test for melatonin. We probably should do that anyways, but we could also take a step back and try and figure out, why are you a poor sleeper? And let's optimize or fix that potential issue, and then get you sleeping better, and then facilitate the natural production of melatonin, facilitate that pineal gland function so that you can then release your own melatonin and have a nice normal release at 10:30, 11 p.m. so your metabolic function can be increased, and your insulin glucose system can be optimized throughout the course of the night. There's this data that shows that in about 30% of the people, if they overdo it on melatonin, their insulin release will be dampened. Therefore, they can have high fasting blood sugar, high nighttime blood sugar, which turns into high fasting blood sugar, regardless of if they have diabetes or not. And then they can get put in a category of diabetes and a whole other set of issues. But they gain weight. They gain abdominal weight usually. So overdoing it on melatonin can swing you the other way. So it's something to keep in mind. So those are the three keys I really wanted to cover today. Poor quality and quantity of sleep can suppress your adiponectin levels, is associated with adiponectin levels, I should say, which means that your metabolism of fat is just not as good as if you're sleeping normally. Poor sleep can affect your hunger hormones. So lack of sleep makes people more hungry, and even if they don't sense it, they tend to overeat if they don't sleep well. And then finally, lack of sleep or poor melatonin release, which means disrupted circadian rhythm function, is associated with higher weights. And then when you correct that imbalance, weight loss is so much easier. So I love seeing those trials. That's our show for today. I want to thank you so much for watching. You know, the purpose of this show is to highlight the holistic approach to weight loss, and obviously we really love it and we find it very effective. We've worked with over 5,000 women, and my practice is significantly busy with these holistic, these specific holistic approaches to weight loss in chronic conditions. So love practicing this type of medicine, and so excited to be able to share it with you on this page. So thank you so much for tuning in. I wanted to take 1 minute to speak with the Duizer program. The Duizer program is Amy and I's program that has been built on Amy's principles. It's composed of 2 guides, a 10-course, 10-session video module series that is all about the principles that we use in holistic weight loss for everyone. And they're effective regardless of your imbalance. The second section is going through those imbalances that can cause weight gain and delay or reduce your ability to lose weight. So it's a kind of choose your own adventure. You figure out where your imbalance might lie, and then you take the steps to try to correct that while following the principles of the 10 module course of the Duizer. So that's how it's divided. Part of the holistic section is insomnia. The insomnia practice and resetting the circadian rhythm and facilitating proper sleep so that weight loss is easier, so that the actual principles of the Duizer program can do their thing, and you can burn fat like a champ and achieve your goals without having to do these crazy restrictive diets that can cause more harm than good sometimes. So that's the Duizer program. If you're curious, go to damihealth.com/join just to read some more about it. And if you ever have any questions about it, leave your comment in the comments below, and we'll try and get back to you. If you have experience with optimizing sleep and then weight loss becoming much easier for you, please share it in the comments below. We love to hear stories about how the holistic approach has helped people sleep better. So again, I want to say thank you so much for watching. That's Holistic Approaches for today, and we'll see you again next week.